It was a quiet morning, and we decided to go for a hike at Elk Island on the Wood Bison Trail. We were quickly rewarded with the sighting of 3 wood bison by the marsh. Sorry for the traffic noise, but the highway is not far off from here. It was interesting watching these 3, as they were very aware that we were watching them, and seemed to consider what they should do next, especially when they looked at each other. In the same area, we saw some fresh tracks on the ice surface. And as the bison moved, a coyote crossed the pond and paused to sniff around. Off on the other side of the trail, a dark brown figure could be seen resting in the sun.
There's a moose over there. Moose? No. What is that?
It was definitely a moose, and I continued to contemplate how old this moose was. It looked a bit small for an adult, but a bit big for a calf, so I think this may be a yearling, or one of last year's calves. Moose will stay with their mothers for about a year until she gives birth and then drives off the youngster.
It is still steaming, so quite fresh.
Before we left, I spotted a lone bison running across the marshy area, possibly disturbed by the coyote we had just seen. We continued along the trail, being mindful that the mother moose could be browsing somewhere nearby, especially with that squirrel alarm going off.
So guys, came around the portion, that moose calf was like way off over on that side in the field. So we are trying to be a little mindful, just because we know the mother will be around and probably quite alert and probably ready to defend at the drop of a hat. But we haven't seen anything, haven't heard anything. Vehicles on the highway are quite noisy, as it always is here. So we're close to the highway, but still, it's been a pretty good morning. We saw three wood bison, coyote crossing the water, and then the coyote kind of came out and looked like he was sniffing around.
Yeah, I think I got a second of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't catch much either. But yeah, we'll continue on and see what else we can find.
We continued on, appreciating the scenery as we went. Signs of spring were starting to pop out. On the next boardwalk, the marsh was surrounded by more willows and more pussy willows. I then watched Lyndon appear to stalk something. I should have realized, as I had heard a branch snap in the thick trees off to the left.
What was
Moose.
a moose?
Yeah, young moose.
Oh, like a calf?
Possibly. But I didn't see him. And by the time I seen him, he spooked and went into the bush.
Oh.
So he's somewhere in this area?
Mm.
But I missed him.
Yeah.
The moose then trotted across the trail, but neither of us had our cameras ready. We paused to admire some tall trees with the blue sky when the relative silence was broken. I continued to admire the tall trees, with a grounded view this time. We reached the clearing, but there were no bison here. I admired the old tree trunk, worn by many bison rubbing their horns on the surface. I panned up, and of course I had to peek inside. Nobody home, thank goodness.
And no, that is not a bison. It's just a pile of poop that's shaped like a bison. Like I said, the bison here are talented poopers. It's the bridge to nowhere. Let's walk on the bridge to nowhere.
We continued on the main trail.
This one is more bison than people.
We also took a moment to look around from the highest point in the area. In a regular park, I am sure that there would be some sort of tower here, but it's nice the way it is. We passed by some of the still frozen ponds along the way. This squirrel sat frozen in the shade, as another one nearby gave some warning calls. And this pond crackled like Rice Krispies in the warming sun. We found some fresh grouse tracks where their wingtips brushed the ground, and then they walked. We had also heard them drumming in the forest, but this was replaced by a different drumming. A hairy woodpecker had found an excellent sounding board. It was great hearing the hammering echoing into the forest. We could hear the replies of the other males in the distance. A little further on, we spotted this moose hiding behind some tree branches. They were motionless except for their large ears occasionally focusing in on the sound. The trail led around them, and we cautiously moved past.
So this is Easter, and we haven't found a single egg, but there are a lot of egg-shaped things.
The coyotes were definitely on the hunt, too. Strangely, we've never seen bison in this field, but they definitely come through. The pond's ice was melting into a patchwork of circles. We found some more bird tracks. These ones are from a raven.
It's in the shadow. Probably a good thing. Wing prints there. The 10K mark, so pretty sure it should be about 5 back to the parking lot. So we're 2/3 of the way around.
And surprise, we met another moose. This one took a long look at us before trotting off. But not before I could film their golden nose. There they go. This was the same moose, just a bit further down the trail. For those who don't like to see animal remains or are eating, just a word of warning.
It's like, holy, I have never seen so much fur. But yeah, I would say this is a moose kill.
This was the first time I had come across a moose kill. The thick layer of fur was astonishing, like we had just stepped
Wow.
onto a rug in the forest.
That is incredible.
There was very little left, except for a few rib fragments.
Bones still with red on them. And then there's the odor. I just kind of came across it and I was like, what is that smell? And then I looked down and I was like, holy crud. Yeah, I thought we were just coming across a grassy section.
That's a lot.
It seemed to make sense why the moose were a bit skittish on that day. Even as one of the largest animals in North America, you still have to be on your guard. As always, thanks for watching.